Black Panther Productions.
Hello everyone! I've got a lot of people asking me how I bake and bake things. So I took an old family recipe, thought what the heck, this is what YouTube is for, isn't it? The recipe I've decided today is chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. It's an old family recipe. Julian, can you please post it up? If you want, you can put pause on the computer and you can write down the recipe. So, I always make a double recipe. The ingredients that were put up are a single recipe, but I always make a double recipe. I have a freezer. I figure if I'm going to put the labor in, I pretty much always make a double recipe. And if you're having a bunch of friends around, they go really quickly. And they freeze really well. So, start by having room temperature butter in your large bowl. This is actually a pound of butter, which is 2 cups of butter. Cut it up into a few chunks so that it gets good in room temperature. And I was always taught to put it in the sink, because when you start to mix it, if there is any spatter, it goes in the sink, not all over your walls. So, my little hand mixer, away we go. Now for cookies, you don't need to whip the butter. You don't need to whip it. You just need to get it beat. Make it really nice and smooth. Maybe get a little bit of air into it, but you don't need to get it super fluffy, because for cookies, then they won't hold together quite as well. So just give it a nice little mixy blendy. With this recipe, with the butter or margarine, you throw in your sugars. This takes white and brown sugar. This is 2 cups of each. And brown sugar, there's a bit of a secret with brown sugar. Press it a little bit so it's slightly compacted. You don't want a piece of cement, but it should hold its piece. And I'm using Demerara brown sugar. You can use regular brown sugar. If you use the really black brown sugar, it will have quite a molasses taste. But it's all personal preference. And then away we mix. Now you'll notice you have a fairly thick consistency in this recipe. The more you beat it, the lighter it will become as more air goes into it. So I don't recommend you do that, because I like to have my cookies have a bit of heft to them. So I wouldn't beat it too much. Next, add your eggs, your vanilla, and your milk. I already pre-measured mine, except for my vanilla, which I just spilled. That's okay, because I have more. Is 4 teaspoons of vanilla, and this is white vanilla. You don't need to use quite as much white vanilla if you have the dark vanilla. So I'm only going to put in 3. The recipe for a double recipe does call for 4 teaspoons. And this recipe also calls for 4 eggs. And away we go. If you're using a handheld mixer like this one, make sure it's actually touching the bottom. Otherwise it won't mix in and you'll end up with this layer of butter and sugar that won't be mixed into your recipe at all. Okay, good mixture. Now, I'll whip that up. We add baking powder. Double recipe needs 2 teaspoons. 1. Here's my baking powder. 2. 2 teaspoons baking soda. That's Elvis. 2 teaspoons baking soda. teaspoons salt. I prefer sea salt, but you could just use regular, ordinary iodized salt. It's quite level. And again, just get it mixed in so it's well mixed. Flour, 4 cups flour for the double recipe. I'm actually using some oat flour, not wheat flour. I'm doing a half and half mixture. Well, a little, not quite half and half, but it'll be kind of fun. Okay, another little secret that most people don't know. Mix it up a bit. First, because if you don't, when you turn on your hand mixer, you're going to get a big, huge puff of flour in your face and in your hair and everywhere but in your bowl for your cookies. So just give it a rough mix. Now, unless you've actually put in basically melted butter, that's about as far as you're going to get with your mixer. Wash my hands. I should have taken off my other rings. Wash my hands. Clean my beaters. Make sure your nails are clean because you really don't want to be sticking your hands into this dough and working with it and having grungies under your fingernails because they'll end up in your cookie dough. Ugh. Of course, no one will know because they'll just think you're the most awesome baker in the world. Unless you're making cookies for someone you don't really like. Excellent. 4 cups of oats. This is getting really full. These are the quick oats. This recipe calls for quick oats. So be careful that you aren't using regular long quick oats, and also not the package that you get, you know, the peaches and cream. You get the actual oatmeal. Rolled oats. That's what you want. Get them fairly well mixed in there. Now, I'm adding the recipe that's on there, as said, as 2 cups of chocolate chips, which would mean adding 4 cups of chocolate chips. I'm only putting in a little under 2 cups of chocolate chips for a double recipe. I don't like too many chocolate chips in my cookies. That's a personal choice. The recipe also does not call for walnut pieces. Hi everyone, battery died. So, I mixed the walnuts in, smooshed it all up, and now we are going to put them in the oven. 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I still speak Fahrenheit. Plop them on pan. Try not to lick your finger in between putting them on the pan. Make sure you spread them quite a ways apart. They do tend to spread. It's probably best to make them a bit small at first so you can see how, wherever you are, if they're going to spread a lot or not. It actually does depend on altitude and all kinds of other factors. Like if you're in Denmark or something right now, your flour is going to be different than the flour that I have here in Canada, and that will make a difference on how things. Plus, you're in Denmark, you're going to be at sea level. So, put them in. Oh yeah, the walnuts, if you don't want to add them, you don't have to. I put walnuts in because I like them. The recipe doesn't call for walnuts. Phone's ringing, hang on. 16. I'm going to put these in the oven, and then Julian's going to have some fun with the editing. for about 16 minutes. And they're a little bit crispy, but they look really good. Nummy, nummy, nummy.
Yep.
So I would rather quickly take them off. Make sure you use a metal spatula. The plastic one isn't going to get a good clean edge under your cookies. And they are kind of sticky. Make sure you keep your pot holder, because otherwise you will burn yourself. Now there is a little secret. If you do make a double batch of batter, but then you don't want to cook it all, you can either freeze your batter and then bring it out, and it would all be in one big lump. But if that's what you want to do, you can. Like when you buy the cookie dough, like the English baked cookie dough in the supermarket, it's like that. Or you can actually portion them individually and then stick them in the freezer to freeze, and then pop them into a freezer bag in the individual little cookies. So all you have to do is then pop it onto the cookie sheet, and away you go. That way you can like bake a dozen cookies without even having to make all the mess. And they're fresh cookies.
Great idea.
I know! So, enjoy your cookies once these are cool enough and don't burn our mouths. I think we're gonna eat a couple. I'm gonna take some to one of the guys at the hospice tonight. He says he likes homemade cookies. So I promised him some. Thanks everybody. See you at the next recipe.
Hi, Lando. You a good dog? Are you a good dog?
Oh, no, stay. Good boy.
Good stay, Lando. Good stay.
Good boy.
Good boy, Lando. Good boy. Hello. Good girl, Starbuck. Good girl.